coming up from the Northeast Live Studios in Guwahati. Northeast Tonight with Wasbir Hussain.
Hello and welcome to Northeast Tonight, the show that decodes the region. Ethnic aspirations in the Northeast has been an ongoing phenomena and Manipur is no exception. As the Naga peace process is nearing completion, there seems to be a great deal of anxiety in Manipur on whether Naga areas in the state are going to be integrated to adjoining Nagaland as part of the Naga Accord, or whether Nagas in Manipur are going to be administered by a special administrative structure. The government and recently Union Home Minister Amit Shah have said Manipur's territorial integrity would not be disturbed. Still, the apprehension remains. Other ethnic groups in Manipur like the Kukis too have said areas dominated by the group should not be merged or made a part of any special arrangement that may be made for the Nagas. Basically, the issue concerns every community retaining their distinct identity. Now the question arises, is there a common Manipuri identity? If so, are Nagas, Kukis and others come under a common Manipuri identity like the majority Meiteis? Do Nagas, Kukis and others in Manipur harbour grievances? If so, is it about lesser political representation or are there other issues? To discuss the subject, I am joined from Imphal by Athuan Abonmoi, President of the ZELIANGRONG BAUDI. Khuraijam Aouthouba, Assistant Coordinator COCOMI is also joining me from Imphal. I also have Mr. Tongmang Haokip, Advisor Kuki INPI, Manipur, and Dr. Noni Arambam, Assistant Professor DM College of Arts and a commentator also is joining me from Imphal. And of course in the studios with me in Guwahati, I have Dr. Xavier, Professor at Northeastern Hill University, Shillong and a very well-known commentator. Gentlemen, welcome to Northeast Tonight. I'd like to begin. Let me turn to you, Mr. Khuraijam Aouthouba. First of all, is there a common Manipuri identity, or to make it more simple, what does the term Manipuri identity mean according to you, Khuraijam Aouthouba?
Well, Wasbir, to begin with, the Manipuri identity, by the very term the Manipuri identity, we mean the sovereign state of Manipur, which was evolved since 33 AD. The region, a territory, a sovereign kingdom, which had 76 subsequent rulers that ruled this nation and administered the region, which includes the so-called today's various, Nagas and Kuki tribes. Now they have been conglomerated under one nomenclature called Nagas in one side and Kukis on the other side. However, in the last 2,000 years of written records that we have, the chronicles, the royal chronicles of Manipur, which is undisputable, this particular records has all the informations and data and historical accounts of all the ethnic communities which has been under this kingdom or the sovereign state. That is the simplest form.
Okay. So that is Khuraijam Aouthouba says that the traditional Manipuri kingdom, the traditional kingdom of Manipur, with that he says has recorded history, says all the ethnic groups combined together makes the Manipuri identity. Let me go to you, Mr. Athuan Abonmoi, Mr. Athuan Abonmoi, the President of the ZELIANGRONG body. Mr. Abonmoi, Do you agree with this definition? What, in your view, is the Manipuri identity? Do you think the Nagas, Kukis, and of course the majority Meiteis and everybody else who are residents of the present state of Manipur are all part of the greater Manipuri society? Do you agree with this definition?
The fact of the matter is that now, yes, what Aouthouba has mentioned about the kingdom of the Manipur. At that time, there was no specific governance. And then, for example, my ZELIANGRONG and the other Nagas groups, we all are in the republic system in the village. We govern ourselves, and we have not been governed by anybody unless these colonial rules come. But when the British come and conquer our land, only that time this the system of government has started. Yes, of course, in this situation, in this period of time, after getting India's independence and before India got the independence, during the British rule, we have been governed by British as well as this by the India. No doubt that we are Manipuri. Manipuri Naga, Manipuri Meitei, Manipuri and other community will be there. This is because of this India governments make the state. That is, one state is Manipur, and so many states are here in India. But in the context of Manipur, yes, like it or not, we are Manipuri. Our identity and our these things that we are all Manipuri. Whoever living in the state of Manipur, we are Manipuri.
So,
in spite of all these, having some political, just a minute. In spite of all the political the differences, I mean political ideology differences, but then we all are Manipuri. I'm Manipuri, Naga, Manipuri, ZELIANGRONG, Manipuri, Meitei. While we are here in Manipur.
Okay, I think that is a very clear-cut statement from Mr. Athuan Abonmoi, the president of the ZELIANGRONG BAUDI. You are basically saying that you have your own identity, but since you are all belonging to the state of Manipur at present, you don't have any problem in calling yourself or identifying yourself with the greater Manipuri identity. That is what I have understood from what you have said, Mr. Abonmoi. Let me go to you, Mr. Tongmang Haokip, the advisor of the Kuki INPI, the apex body of the Kuki community in Manipur. Mr. Haokip, do you agree with this definition? What do you mean by the greater Manipuri society? Do you consider the Kukis in Manipur to be a part of the greater Manipuri society? Do you consider yourself as a Manipuri apart from retaining your Kuki identity?
See, Wasbir, from the historical perspective, if you analyze, we the Kukis have been settling in the hill areas of Manipur. So also the Nagas were settling. And there is also a saying that the Meitei, the golden land of Manipur, is encircled by a ring of hills where the tribals are inhabiting. So we all feel that as per the historical perspective, we have also been inhabiting the hill areas of Manipur along with our Naga brothers. But to this I would say that each Naga and Kuki villages or the communities were independent of the Meitei kingdom at that time, and only when the British came for the administrative convenience, they have kept us within the political boundary of Manipur. And the Manipur Darbar was administrating us, not the Meitei kingdom, not the Meitei king. So we were small village republic type of inhabitants, having our own culture and our own way of life, and
Yeah.
worshipping in our own style.
Do you?
So, but after the coming of independence in India, now we are placed within the political boundary of Manipur. So we consider ourselves as Manipuri in that sense because we are within the boundary of Manipur.
Okay, so you have your distinct identity, as Mr. Abonmoi had also said, you have your distinct identity, you have your own history, but today you are a resident of Manipur and you consider yourself very much Manipuri in that sense, to that extent. Let me go to you, Dr. Noni Arambam, Assistant Professor at DM College of Arts. Dr. Noni Arambam, according to you, who comprised the greater Manipuri society? Obviously, the Meiteis are the majority community, but can you only say that only Meiteis comprise the Manipuri identity? Of course, you are not going to say that. Do you agree with the esteemed panelists that everybody combined together, all the ethnic groups who live in Manipur combined together formed a greater Manipuri society? Do you agree, or do you have an alternate view?
Thank you, Mr. Wasbir. I would like to begin by saying that there is a need to debunk or to come out of this very idea of framing people or the communities in Manipur into majority and minority, because I want to go with the facts. If you look at 2011 census, you can see that around 44% of the state's population is constituted of the Meiteis. And interestingly, approximately 41% of the population of the state is constituted of the tribals. If you look at this information, well, one can conclude with the fact that there is no such distinction in terms of population size. One is 44 approximately, and the other one is 41. Therefore, I would like to say that it will be factually and methodologically wrong to say and to put people into that frame, what you call majority and minority. That's one. Number two, one has to understand the idea Manipur has always been a heterogeneous and a plural society. If you look at this very idea that with due regards to all the esteemed panelists who have spoken out so far, I think nobody is denying the fact that we constitute the people called Manipuri. Now, at the same time, we also acknowledge the fact that there are many communities in the state of Manipur, the ZELIANGRONG, the Nagas, the Kukis, and the Pangals, many more. Now, in fact, the idea of ethnicization has been a situation, has manifested rather very prominently with the formation of NACNIM in 1988 and the Naga Kuki clash in the early 90s. Now, I would like to argue that due to the ethnicization in the last 25 years or so, the ethnic boundaries have hardened, as a result of which it is becoming difficult at times to have a democratic dialogue amongst the communities. At the same time, I would like to remind you with the fact that historically there was a time when the communities were working together in a very democratic platform. For example, in 1947, when the independent constitution of Manipur was enacted, there was a participation of all the communities in writing the constitution.
Yeah.
Secondly, I would like to also assert the fact that in the first government of that constitution that was formed in 1948 had a Kuki representative as the first speaker of that government. And more interestingly, the first defense minister of that government was the Tangkhul, whom we today call the Nagas. Now, with this historical facticity, let us not go back to the pre-British period exchanges of, or making of a Manipuri identity. There is a historicity to it. I would like to argue that the narrative of a Manipuriness was present during the anti-colonial struggles. At the same time, it was very, very prominently present in the 1947 exercises and
Right.
1948 formation of the government.
Okay, we will expand.
Just one more point. I would like to assert with the fact that the question of ethnicization is a very post-British experience, and it has heightened more in the early 1990s. That's all for the first round.
Okay, now the point is, it may be a post-British concept, post-British construct, but at the moment we have to deal with it, because no one can deny the fact that ethnic aspirations are very, very high in the Northeast, and Manipur is no exception. So how to deal with these ethnic aspirations is the main issue. And another point which Dr. Noni Arambam has said, that the question of majority minority does not arise, but we must also understand the fact that while the Meiteis, according to you, Dr. Arambam, comprise 44%, you are saying the hill tribals comprise 41%, but the point is, while the hill tribals are small groups like the Nagas, Kukis, and Anals and everybody, but whereas the Meitei is a single homogeneous group, that is also, we cannot deny the fact. We'll come back to all of that. Let me go to Dr. Xavier Mao. Dr. Xavier Mao, being someone who is not from Manipur but who is closely watching the situation there, what in your view are the internal problems in Manipur today? Because as the Naga issue is nearing completion, as we feel that the Naga problem is likely to be solved soon, the anxiety in Manipur is growing. Why do you think so, and why is it growing in your view? Very, very briefly though.
Well, in order to resolve this problem and minimize, the false narratives has to be deconstructed. For example, proper history writing even in India started only in the 17th century. But Mr. Aouthouba is claiming from 33 AD, which serious historians will never accept. This is utter nonsense.
Let's not use unparliamentary language.
Yeah. Secondly, Manipur, the present Manipur was known as, rather Imphal Valley was known as Kanglei Pak, that is the dried up land in Manipuri language. And it was only in 1724 when the Manipuri king Pang Haiba, whose name was later changed to Garib Niwaz, when he became a Hindu, it was changed in 1724 into Hindu, that is the land of the jewel or about of jewel. And it was in 1873, the Naga areas, Zomi and Kuki areas were put together for administrative convenience into Manipur. Therefore, a lot of deconstruction is also needed. Without doing that, I think resentment, grievances, etc. will be there. And as earlier you have rightly pointed out, that unless the lopsided and one-sided uneven representation, political representation is corrected, the hill people will continue to nurse very serious grievances because they assess the opportunities and political powers are denied.
Okay.
Misappropriation of political power and the resources are cornered by the majority, and going by the even delimitation principle, the valley area is only just 10%, hill area is 90%, and population-wise approximately it is 45:55. Therefore, it is highly unjust. So unless this is corrected, the grievances will continue.
Okay, let me turn once again to Mr. Khuraijam Aouthouba. Khuraijam, basically, okay, everybody is saying that they are part of Manipur, so they have accepted this Manipuri identity. But do you think that the Manipuri identity, will it be correct to assume from what the rest of the panelists have said that it is very shaky, it's very fragile? The Meiteis are a solid group, the Meiteis are a homogeneous group, settled in the Imphal Valley, which comprise 10 to 15% of the total land area, and the rest of the land area belong to the hilly areas, and this is inhabited by the hilly people. Now, therefore, okay, technically they are saying that they are Manipuri, but do you think this Manipuri construct is a very fragile construct? Do you think there needs to be consolidated, and if so, how can the divide be bridged? What is the conflict? How can the majority Meiteis address this issue?
No, Wasbir, please give me some, sufficient time to, explain all these issues one by one, right? Starting from Mr. Abonmoi to Tongmang, then to Mr. Xavier Mao. Number one, there is one common thing that all the panelists has just expressed, especially the three panelists from Kuki, then ZELIANGRONG, BAUDI, and Mao. The way they project themselves as a Manipuri.
No, we don't even call Manipuri.
No, let him speak.
Is with on the basis of a very wrong misinformations, which they just said some when they start, rejecting my argument about the identity of Manipur. See, before when British came, we were not united, rather divided. The very claim of the territory that they just mentioned about 90% of the territories are hill areas are for the tribal and the valley comprises only for the Meiteis. These are division created by the British. But now they sometimes, when there is, some colonial policy which is of their interest, then they said it's created by the British. But when we say something that is on the larger aspiration of the entire community, they say it is, creation of the wrong creation of the pre-British and post-British, this and that. But however, let me very clearly tell you this: before British arrived, the idea of Manipur and the integrity and the totality comprising of all the ethnic communities were never contested. Let them just bring out one incident in the history, in the historical records, where one tribal was Abonmoi, who represents ZELIANGRONG. ZELIANGRONG means three tribes: ZELIANG, Liangmai, and Liangmai, Jemai, and Rongmai. They have also constructed a conglomeration of three tribes, like the way Naga did for 20 tribes. They are also following the same trend. But just give me one example before British arrived where the rule of the Manipuri people, where the sovereign states were ever contested by any of the tribal democratic republic, whatever they just said, mentioned
Okay,
about. Those are all lies, number one.
Okay.
Number two, British divides the territory of Manipur into two parts. One is the hill region, another one is the valley. That is what that legacy, that remnant, that colonial remnant has been followed by the Indian Constitution and converted it into Article 371C. When the merger agreement was signed between the, King of Manipur and the government of India, there were negotiation never took place. They just bring out a list of agreements from the center and they just brought it and compelled the king to just sign over it.
Okay.
And that has become the law of this land. That is the most unfortunate part. And all this ethnocentric, ethnicization of ethnocentric nationalism aspirations. Please, let me complete this. All these ethnocentric nationalism aspirations of all the small communities are being, initiated and created by the Asian IM's political ambition, which was developed just 50, 60 years back. And I am talking about 2,000 years
legacy.
So it's not,
Yeah, he's talking about a 2,000-year-old legacy. But let me go to Mr. Abonmoi. Mr. Abonmoi, Mr. Khuraijam Aouthouba said that, when the Manipuri kingdom was at its peak, when that is what he's saying, Mr. Aouthouba is saying that no one contested the suzerainty of the Manipuri king at that time. Now, do you want to say that that means the various ethnic groups, we are talking about the contemporary situation, we are talking about now. Do you think the ethnic groups in Manipur have their own right to, think about their own aspirations? Yes, you have very clearly said that you have your distinct identity, but you are Manipuri. But why is there apprehension among the Meiteis that once the Naga solution comes, the Naga areas in Manipur may be integrated and that the Naga people in Nagas in Manipur may have no problem in merging with Nagaland? So this is the fear in the heartland of Manipur. Is this fear justified?
No, Mr. Wasbir, no, you see what Aouthouba has said. No, that the kingdom of Meitei ruled every village is wrong. Yes, of course, during those days, we are very much republic, we are very much independent in each and every village. That is the fact. Yes, when it come back to this British regime, we have been governed. And under this Meitei kingdom, we were part of Manipur. And from till now, we are Manipuri. Coming back to this, Dr. Noni, I just want to reply to him and then come back to this, Wasbir, what you say. That we don't need to classify majority, minority. Whoever we are here in Manipur, yes, Meitei being the majority community and advanced society in every field, they are the one who have to lead the people, Manipuri as a whole, to this thing, to create the conducive atmosphere.
Yeah.
Second thing, coming back to Wasbir, what you are asking to me. The Manipuri, particularly the Manipuri Meiteis have their apprehension regarding this Naga solution. But let me be clear here. During those 1950s, 60s, and 70s, and even 80s, the Meitei brothers, Manipuri Meitei don't have any apprehensive. But it has started the apprehension for breaking up the Manipur territorial integrity. That is, it should be, because it is NSNIM who provoked their sentiment. During NNC's time, such thing that never happened. And during NNC time, when the Naga struggle for their political movement, Meitei brothers don't have any apprehension. We don't have any hatreds and enmity. There was no distinct differences. However, during NSNIM time, they started unnecessary, provoking the sentiments of Manipuri people. And how many people have been maimed? How many people have been killed? How many people have been tortured, harassed? Then from there, the sentiments of Meitei people also, that should be, as a human being. If I'm in their position, I will also feel in that line. So now the Manipuri Meiteis are very much apprehensive to break the Manipur territorial integrity. Coming back now, why this thing happened, in the history for the last many years, we have been together. Yes, of course, in some years, because of the religion or because of the do's and don'ts thing, some communication gap were there. However, we all are coming back together, and then things could have been now. Naga solution could have been achieved very well as wish and as per desire and the long cherished dream. Naga could have been integrated, then Meitei will not also be that much opposed. But because of NSNIM provocation, and every now and then they provide and doing nothing there, and then now the Meiteis, the brother also having this thing hard their sentiment. Number one. Number two, hatred policy, enmity policy among the community will not bring anything.
Okay.
Simply, one example. My ZELIANGRONG people have been demanding the statehood within the Union of India. That is our right. We deserve it. Whether our demand have been granted or not, that is depend on the government of India. Likewise, the government of India will consider whether Naga integration will materialize or not. But then now, because of this thing, provocation by NSNIM, forget that, and the other state is, you see, Arunachal and Assam, the same thing now happened. Number one is Manipur, Manipur being the worst place for any such evidence, such cases. So now,
Very
my
briefly.
point is that if Meitei have not been hurt, have not been provoked, then Naga the aspiration could have also been supported by Meitei brothers. Being like it or not,
I got your point. I got your point.
No force on
I
earth
got your
this,
point.
Our relationship.
Yes.
Our,
Right.
lane and
I've made it. You have made your point.
But then,
I've got it.
just
There
a
is
minute,
a
just a minute. Let me
provocation.
complete. Now,
You are saying no.
because of the NSN, I am
Mr.
this
Mr. Abonmoi, hold your thoughts. Mr. Abonmoi, please
Just
hold
a
your
minute, let me
thoughts.
complete.
I'm running
Just a
short of
minute,
time. I have
just
to
a
go for a
minute.
break.
Let me
I'll come back
now,
to you.
because of that,
I'll
now
come back to
things
you,
will be-
Mr. Abonmoi. I'll come back to you. Please hold your thoughts. I'll have to go for a break, but very quickly, 20 seconds to you, Mr. Tongmang Haokip. Tongmang Haokip, the apprehension, therefore, and therefore this clamor for asserting the identity. Is it true? Will it be a correct assessment? The apprehension is triggering the Kuki community also to assert for their identity. Will it be correct assessment or not?
Not clear.
Yes, Mr. Wasbir, because after the Naga freedom movement started, then the question of integration was taken up by the Naga Council. Even at the Mao Gate conference or this thing, and then at Makokchung conference, this question of integrity had already been sounded. But the real issue came up when the NSNIM started trying to integrate the whole inhabited areas of Manipur with Nagaland. This was the issue which provoked both the Meiteis and the Kuki community in Manipur.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
if the Naga inhabited areas goes to Nagaland, Manipur's boundary will be dismantled or bifurcated, and then part of the Kuki community will go to Nagaland, part will remain in Manipur.
Okay.
So this is the fear from the Kuki community that a part of our community may be shifted to Nagaland.
Okay, got it. Got the
So
point.
this
That is the
apprehension that we have.
That is the fear. That is the trigger. The Nagalim idea has generated the fear among the Meiteis and the Kukis. That's what Mr. Haokip is saying. I'll go for a break. When I come back, I'll go to Professor Xavier Mao as well as Dr. Noni Arambam for their views and to take the discussion forward. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Let me come to you, Professor Xavier Mao. Professor Mao, there seems to be a feeling that the Nagalim idea of the NSC and IM, that has triggered the fears of, Manipur losing the Naga areas as part of a possible Naga deal. And the Kukis are worried because a lot of the land inhabited by the Nagas in Manipur, the Kukis are also a part of it. Kukis also live in such areas, and therefore the Kukis feel that if at all the Naga areas are merged or brought under some kind of a different administrative structure, the Kukis are also going to face it. Therefore, the Kukis do not want that. So, do you think the Nagaland idea is basically the central government has also clarified, the Home Minister has recently clarified that Manipur's integrity is not going to be affected by any possible Naga deal. Do you think the fears are genuine? Do you think the fears are a little bit on the higher side?
The Kuki fear is genuine if all the Naga inhabited areas are integrated. But my personal opinion is, where Kukis are majority, that should not be integrated. I think that is not fair. But absolutely Naga majority areas, if that is integrated, I think there is no problem. And the government of India in principle has not ruled out the integration issue. And for the Manipuris also, I think that they don't have any problem, because if within the Manipur state uneven development is there, and if they are getting the lion's share, if that is taken away and if they get what they deserve, I think nothing has been taken away from them. But whatever extra they are enjoying, of course, that they may not get. But for that, maybe the government of India, to assess their sentiment, can give maybe some forms of compensation. So I don't think there is any problem. And coming back
Any problem in what?
Problem in the sense, their area or their people will not be affected, except the benefits, extra benefit that they were getting as a majority, of course, that they may not get.
Okay, now the point is, Dr. Noni Arambam, you have heard Mr. Athuan Abonmoi, saying that as the majority community, the Meiteis has to lead the entire people. Obviously, the people expect justice, people expect fairness wherever the majority community is there. The majoritarian politics, whether we like it or not, the majoritarian politics is always the dominant politics in any region, any state or any country. Basically, that is the reality. Now, as the majority community in Manipur, do you think the Meiteis also have to come forward to redress some of the grievances, some of the fears of the hill people?
Okay, let me also put forth a couple of facticity. For instance, the valley of Manipur is of around, say, 9% of the total land size. And 60% of the population resides in this 8 to 9% land size, which means there is a lot of pressure on the valley land. It also reflects a reality that this valley is inhabited by a lot of communities, not only the Meiteis, first point. Secondly, I would like to say that the Meiteis, the Kukis, the Nagas, they will have to come forward, of course, for a democratic dialogue, because ethnic movements, ethnic conception of identities have not really lead us to anywhere. For example, the exclusive ethnic mobilization of the NEC and IM in the last 25 years or so has not really given a peaceful political situation in the entire northeast areas. For example, the Assamese and the Arunachalis are equally against this ethnicization of the identities in the northeast. Having seen this realization of the problem, I think NNPG from the Nagaland state has already taken a position by saying that exclusively ethnic-based homeland formation for the Nagas is going to be almost impossible. Now, it is also a fact that the government of India has acknowledged a very important fact that the territorial identity of Manipur state has a historical root, as a result of which the government is not going to compromise on the territorial integrity.
No.
But my point...
Come back to my point. Come back to my question.
My point is that the ethnic identities will have to be respected. The ethnic aspirations will have to be respected. For example, in the state of Manipur, there is already 371C, which empowers the hill people in various ways, as you already know it. On the other side, there are land laws in the state of Manipur which prohibits the valley people to live, to settle in the hills. Now, what I want to say is that one has to understand when we are talking about exclusive ethnic identities, one has also to understand the common causes, the common issues. For example, the pressure on the paddy fields, the question of petroleum products in the state of Manipur, the question of hydroelectric power resources. When these communities are too much focused on their ethnic mobilizations, they've completely neglected this very important question of economy. Now, I want to appeal to all the communities inhabiting in Manipur that in order to have an idea of Manipur, we need to understand some common issues which are going to be crucial in the development and progress of Manipur,
right.
for example, resources.
All right, let me.
Therefore, lastly, I want to put in a new proposal by saying that the ethnic communities in Manipur will need to work out on a better center-state relationship where there will be a federal arrangement with the state of Manipur as well. Thank you.
Okay, now Khuraijam Aouthouba, we are talking about, no one can deny the fact today that Manipur is a plural, extremely diverse society, where different ethnic groups live. Now the question is, but we are not seeing much of a dialogue. Where is the internal dialogue in Manipur? Where is the internal dialogue among ethnic groups in Manipur? We have not seen them. Recently, of course, the COCOMI tried to, have some kind of a coordination with the other ethnic groups. But really, before that, we have not seen much of a serious dialogue among the Meiteis with the Nagas, Kukis, and everybody else. Why is it not happening?
No, actually, Wasbir, dialogue is going on, but the issue is the common people from among the Nagas. There is a dictate from the armed groups of various armed groups to them. Therefore, even if they are willing, the common peoples are willing, they don't have that ability or that atmosphere to come out and speak out their hearts out. It's not happening here. That is the issue. So once this peace talks somehow settle down, and the armed cadre of NHIM have joined the mainstream and came down, then definitely the common Naga communities will definitely come out, and we are looking forward to that. We do understand that all ethnic aspirations needs to be heard and addressed and accommodated in each and every policy, which we have been attempting from ages. When before British, we were under one territory. When British come, they divided. But when British left, we attempt under our own Constitutional Act 1947, Manipur State Constitution Act 1947, to again make it inclusive framework. That was being again overruled and taken over by the government of India, and the Constitution of India, which was being brought in Manipur, again divided the state.
No.
So that's the unfortunate part.
Right. Now, Mr. Abonmoi, Union Home Minister, if I remember correctly, because I think you also met the Union Home Minister Amit Shah during his recent visit. You also represented the ZELIANGRONG BAUDI. Now, if I am not mistaken, I think the Union Home Minister said that we will try our best to resolve the internal issues in Manipur. If I am not mistaken, the Home Minister also said that apart from the issues concerning the broad region in view of the Naga peace talks, I think he also said that Manipur's internal issues also the government will try to resolve. Now my question to you, why we get an impression from outside that not much of dialogue is happening. Do you agree?
No, it is not that whether we have dialogue or not. It is in fact It should not be, because we, being the Manipuri, we can have some sort of understanding. Naga support Meitei, Meitei support Naga, and so on, and our Kuki brothers. We can live peacefully and we can have some understanding. Once we bring the understanding and create the conducive atmosphere within among ourselves, then we are begging to other people, and then requesting them, demanding them. It is in fact, we are just selling our own the right. Number one. And number two, Wasbir, you see, regarding this internal problem, it is created because some group of people also have their own agenda, and each and every community have their own agenda. That is the fact. And secondly, yes, why this discord among the ethnic community, ethnic groups in Manipur is nothing but it is because of it is from, number one is from NHNIM, and then another one is from all political, the so-called politicians, no, in Manipur. They want, whenever the election comes, they will use Manipuri Meiteis card, Nagas card, Kukis card. This is number one, and it has to be erased. Once this Naga solution comes, as Aouthouba has stated, if this armed culture, gun culture is the erased and demolished, then definitely these politicians who are getting the support based on ethnicity or a community, then bringing the hatreds among our people, our own brother and sister, will definitely reduce and will definitely erase. But then coming back to my point, let me be very clear. Meitei, Manipuri Meitei being the majority, as I said, and the advanced society, they have to play the major role in bringing all the ethnic groups together here and there. However, however, sometimes our Meitei brothers also have some, they used to keep on talking 2,000 years history, 3,000 years history. That will not give us anything good. Now, my point is that Dr. Noni, you are also talking about that ethnicity. You see, the tribal people, if tribal people got the 6th schedule in the state of Manipur, that will be the benefit for all Meiteis, the Nagas, the Kukis, and Jaumis. Every community will enjoy it. But then you have too much apprehensive. Yes, that is because of that responsibility of the apprehension of our daily people should be fixed. So
let me very quickly, I'm running short of time.
Should be fixed to NHNIM, that's right.
Okay. Now, Mr. Haokip, you have heard Mr. Athuan Abonmoi saying that, 6th schedule, nobody should be worried about if the communities get 6th schedule. Now, there has to be some reservations by the Meitei groups even on this, the 6th schedule status, because in Assam, almost all the hill tribals enjoy autonomy under the 6th schedule. So, do you think Manipur, what is the problem in Manipur?
Now, Wasbir, I would just recount a little bit of the past, that the Kukis of Manipur were also involved in the struggle for freedom movement in Mizoram. It was spilled over in Manipur.
Yeah.
But when Mizoram got their statehood, or the fruit of their struggle, we were left out. Now, the Nagas of Manipur have also taken part in the freedom struggle of the Nagas. So they have every right to aspire for integration and sharing the cake of prosperity with Nagaland. But the issue is that when Kuki delegations went to meet Mr. Muiwa, he said that you have missed your Mizoram bus, now you are again missing the Nagaland bus. So that means the Kukis will not be part of the integration movement. Now, as far as the political dialogue have gone, the Home Minister has clearly said that the integration of Naga areas with the mainland Nagas will not be possible at this juncture. So it's clear that the Manipuri Nagas will not be integrated with the Nagas of Nagaland. Now that means the bus which Muiwa has said is that it will leave for Nagaland is already stranded and it is not moving because of the bun or because of technical failure that only the negotiators will be knowing.
Very interesting.
Now it is better for the Nagas of Manipur. It is better for the Nagas of Manipur to stay back in Manipur, and with their Kuki brothers, we should demand territorial council sort of arrangement or sixth schedule.
Okay, Mr. Haokip, Mr. Haokip, let me sum up. Let me sum up.
1 minute. As far as non-inclusive, as far as the non-inclusive development program is concerned, the Manipuri Meiteis, they have taken all the lion's share, and it is said that only when the bucket is full, then only the grass will get water.
Okay,
so
I will. Okay, Mr. Haokip, hold your thoughts. Hold your thoughts. What I'm coming to you. I'm coming to you, Aouthouba. What Mr. Tongmang Haokip is saying is that his proposal is that the Nagas and the Kukis in Manipur should demand a territorial council or a sixth schedule status. That means they basically wants that they want the Kukis and the Nagas should demand more autonomy as far as Manipur is concerned. If the government of India gives them autonomy, the Kukis will not be opposed to it. That is the impression I'm getting from what Mr. Haokip has said. Yes, Khuraijam Aouthouba, if the Nagas and the Kukis get autonomy, why should you have any problem? If the Nagas and Kukis are to stay within Manipur and get a fair amount of autonomy, why should you have any problem at all? That is, we need some kind of a clarity on that.
Let me come very clear on this.
Very short. I'm short of time. Brief specific.
No, you can't be short on time. See, it has to be cleared out. It has to be cleared out.
Yeah, briefly.
See, number one, the demand for territorial council or sixth schedule will not happen at any cost. Number one. That will not happen at any cost. Number two, Mr. Tongmang Haokip has been, repeatedly claiming that the Meiteis are taking the lion's share. He even mentioned this again in our previous debate as well. But I don't get enough time to, answer that. But let me answer this. You please give me some time. Mr. Tongmang, please don't tell lies. Meitei, the so-called Meitei, never breach in the administrative and policy-based, administrative arrangement of the hill areas. Article 371C is the clear example that every tribals are now speaking about claiming their territory. That 90% of the land belongs to the hill tribe is because of that Article 371C, and we never breach into that territory till now. You have your hill area committee, comprises of those 20 hill representatives. And without their approval, their consent, the state government can't do anything. All budgets has been framed with the approval of your own hill area committee. And we never have anything. Your own MLAs and ministers sold out all your scheduled tribes, beneficiaries, welfares, funds and everything to somewhere in Dimapur, in Imphal market, and they bluffed their innocent hill people. And you are blaming to Meitei. That's, that's so insincere. And you should never repeat that. Being a senior citizen,
let's not get personal.
Aouthouba, but he keep blaming. He's so communal.
Let's not get personal. No. Aouthouba, let's
why
not.
Did he keep mentioning that
Let's continue a civil debate. Let's continue with a civil debate. Please argue.
He should not lie. No. He should not lie.
Okay, please.
Just give me one example that Meitei took the lion's share. Which lion's share is that Meitei took away? Please mention. If Mr. Tongmang failed to do that, he should apologize.
Okay.
He should apologize.
We unfortunately, I don't have much time. But Mr. Haokip, yes.
Let him answer. Let him answer.
1 minute.
Just mention one share. One thing.
I can
one
clarify on that point. If you allow me, Mr. Wasbir.
Yes.
I can clarify on that point.
Yeah.
When I'm saying that all the development priorities have gone to the valley because all the medical college, 2-3 medical colleges have been gone to Manipur, sports, stadium, all have been in the valley, and recently in the Harautel issue, that also has been taken away by the valley people. What major projects have been given in
What
the hill
valley
area?
people?
You just tell me.
Oh,
Okay,
You tell me what major projects have been taken up in the hill area.
Aouthouba, explain. Aouthouba, please reply. Aouthouba, please reply.
please repeat the question. What did he ask?
What he is asking, what major projects have been given in the hills? What major projects have gone to the hills?
No. See, major projects. What do you mean by major projects? What major projects is he talking about? Imphal is the capital of the state. I cannot blame New Delhi for having metro rail while Imphal is not having. I cannot blame the Indian government for building metro rails in New Delhi and not in Manipur. So that logic doesn't apply. I am talking about the grassroots development. What is their local MLAs doing? What happens to their share?
Okay,
When this COVID-19 pandemic relief materials reach hill, Imphal, the local population of the Imphal gets 4 kg per person,
running.
whereas in hill
Okay,
area they don't
Khuraijam,
even get 1 kilo.
got
But
your
they don't
point.
blame their
You have
MLA,
made your point.
rather blame the government.
You have made
That's
your point.
foolish.
Very quickly,
They are blaming the Meiteis.
20 seconds to you. I'm absolutely no time. 20 seconds to you, Dr. Noni Arambam. You call that you say that there is a greater Manipuri society where Nagas and Kukis and everybody is part of the greater Manipuri society, and you say major organizations and leading activists, leading leaders of the community say that there should not be any autonomous council or sixth schedule in the hill areas. So a lot of people will not understand this outside Manipur. So can you explain in very, very briefly, Dr. Noni Arambam, the sentiment?
Thank you. Couple of dotted points. I
Very
think
quickly.
there is one has to understand the fact that when we are talking about sixth schedule application in Manipur, one has to also contextually relate to the existing laws like 371C and also the land laws which prohibits the non-tribal people to settle in the hill areas. These are already empowering laws which is in operation in the state of Manipur. On the other side, on the question of sixth schedule, I think the issue of granting or not granting sixth schedule is because there is an increasing threat to the territorial integrity of Manipur, which is a historical fact. Now the point is that even if you have sixth schedule, the question is that such a law should not be affecting the territorial status or the integrity of Manipur. Now, on the other side, I think we need to understand one fact that in the history of the entire Northeast, the question of demanding ethnic homeland has not really gone well. Now, the glaring example is the NACN-IM driven ethnic homeland question.
Okay, Dr. Noni,
Now,
I'm sorry.
Lastly, we, the communities in Manipur, need to come together and sit down together and see how could we live together.
Yes,
because historically
even the
there were moments when we lived
absolutely.
together.
I think even the biggest
yeah,
deadlocks are resolved through dialogue. I'd like to conclude. The biggest deadlocks also can be resolved through dialogue. There is nothing impossible in a dialogue, and because we are part of a great democracy that is India, and I think every issue can be resolved through dialogue. We are at a very engaging, I have to conclude this debate at a very critical time only for the lack of more time, and I think there will be definitely a counter view, but we will continue with this discourse. This is not the last word on the subject. I thank all my panelists for participating in this very engaging discussion and the viewers for watching the program. Good night and goodbye.